Hello and welcome to Hybrid, powered by chinkseyMEDIA. This is my pre-match press conference analysis of Mikel Arteta for the game between Athletic Club and Arsenal. Here goes. So Mikel Arteta is just about to take to his seat. He's took to his seat.
Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's well. How are you? Okay. If you have a question, raise your hand and we'll come to you. Looks like we're all ready. We'll come to Alex from the BBC UK first here.
Hi Mikel, just speaking to David Rye there about the campaign you had last season in the Champions League. What's the feeling coming into this one?
Well, very excited to start again from scratch in a beautiful place, in a stadium that is going to generate something special. We're looking forward to that, and I'm very excited again to step by step start to build some momentum and start to have some wins.
Okay, so we're up against Athletic Bilbao, who lost at the weekend at home, I believe. We've already beaten them in pre-season, so we know we can gauge what to expect. They haven't gotten off to the greatest of starts this season. We have, with the exception of exceptional free kick against Liverpool, current leaders. But one thing's for sure, I expect Athletic Bilbao's crowd to be up for it at San Mané. They're good at home. They finished 4th last season, had a fantastic season. Probably would find themselves slightly disappointed not to have at least got to the Europa League final in their own stadium, let alone won it, because for me, they were my tips to win it from the start. Obviously, I knew that Manchester United and Tottenham were favourites, just ahead of Athletic Bilbao. But tomorrow should be a good game, but one that I expect us to pick up 3 points in.
Can I just ask about a couple of fitness issues you have in the squad? William Saliba trained today but didn't seem to be. Martin Odegaard, is he available?
No, so Gavi, Kai, Ben and Martin is still out, unfortunately.
Okay, so yeah, like I alluded to on some of my interviews, if you saw them on the weekend, William Saliba looks like he could have played on Saturday if necessary. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Saliba starts, gets some minutes, or doesn't feature ahead of a big game on Sunday against his nemesis, Erling Haaland. As for Martin Odegaard, he's obviously been ruled out by the gaffer, so that gives a fantastic opportunity to the likes of Eberechi Eze, who's likely to come off the left flank, and obviously Ethan Nwaneri, who Kivsy's been waxing lyrical about. So this is an opportunity that Nwaneri has been craving for. He just had to be patient. Now the stage is there for him to thrive on.
And this season there seems to be a lot of talk about the way teams are playing, a lot more set pieces, long throws, and maybe a more direct nature in football. Why do you think that is your advantage of those set pieces and throw-ins for a while?
Evolution of the game. The game is faster, the space is smaller, and everybody's trying to take advantages from other aspects of the game that are obviously key actually to win football matches. And at the end, you have to dominate nowadays everything in football to give yourself the best chance to win the games.
Miguel?
So yeah, like I mentioned on the weekend, this throw-in stuff, this so-called Stoke football and rare. For me, I don't agree with it. I just feel we're multifaceted in the way we can attack a game, so we can kill you in many ways. 50 ways to die, choose one type thing. Throw-ins is part of fine lines, fine margins. In a tight game, if you can notch yourself ahead, if you can etch ahead from a corner, from a set piece, from a throw-in, from a scruffy goal, you can open the game up like that. And then obviously the opponent, because Arteta and Arsenal, ideally we want to play sexy, amazing football and open teams up, but obviously 95% of teams we play against will not allow that to happen. So in that case, we have to kind of use every ounce of know-how and various methods and ways to kind of prize a team open. So if we're gonna notch ahead from a long throw or from a corner kick and it opens the game up, then so be it. So be it.
Mikel, you've spoken a lot in the last week about being from the area, how great Bilbao is. You played a minute here as a Real Sociedad player. Do you still kind of feel that, or is there any sense of that old rivalry coming into this experience for you? And because obviously there's actually quite a strong Real Sociedad contingent.
Yes, of course. We land in Bilbao. That's normally where I land. When I go back home to San Sebastian, it's an hour drive from there. All my family is from there.
Yeah. So there's a few. There's obviously Odegaard played for Sociedad. Obviously, San Sebastian is in that kind of Basque region kind of thing. But then you have Marino, you have Martin Zubamendi, and then you obviously got Mikel Arteta, who are from that kind of radius in Spain. But I'm not sure how that influences the game. But we have a number of Spanish-speaking players. So it'll be interesting to see if Christian Mosquera keeps his place tomorrow afternoon even. And for me, I'd like to see him keep his place. I'd like to see Saliba come on, get some minutes, get some match fitness in ready for Sunday.
And you just sense the passion, the rivalry, the football atmosphere, and great to be here. Never been in this stadium before, so good experience.
Jordan, Sam?
Hi, Mikel. Can I just check, has Martin flown out with the team, or is he back home? He's back home. Just how important, I know you've spoken about it before this season, but rotation, especially this year in the Champions League, is it a case of we're not going to see the same starting 11 in every game in the Champions League because there's a chance to rotate and give other players a rest and other players a chance?
Yes, well, it would depend on the availability of the squad, the form of the players. Now, unfortunately, we have a few players already out, so that is already limited in certain positions. But hopefully, we come to the point that the competition and the level of performance of the players is that high that we are able to do that very efficiently to win more football matches. That's the objective.
Yeah. So people like Miles Lewis-Skelly need a start. Ben White might need a run out. I think. Yeah, those two for me can come in. I'm happy with Gabriel playing. I'd like to see Piero Hincapié come on and get some minutes, maybe as a substitute. And then obviously in the midfield, Declan Rice will come in. So I felt, obviously I know I titled one of my videos, he was dropped. Declan Rice cannot be dropped. He was rested ahead of two big games in midweek and at the end of the week against Athletic Club and Man City respectively, so he'll come in and I'm sure he'll start both of those. And then obviously Martin Zubamendi might get a little rest, or he'll probably play. And then you've got Marino, who's on form. So up front really picks itself. Madueke would like to kind of build on his momentum that he is in. The good form he's started to show, is getting a run of games on the right wing. And then obviously Victor Gyökeres would like to add to his tally of 3 goals in 4 games. On the left, I'd like to see Eberechi Eze start again, so to make his Champions League debut. So I think the team almost picks itself. I think pretty much same again, but I'll change the 2 fullbacks.
And with Kai and Gabby out, kind of Victor's on his own up there, are you going to have a chance to be able to rest him at all and bring other players into that role, or do you think he's going to have to lead the line now for a while without a real rest?
Well, let's see it against Forest at the end. Mikel played as a 9. We have Leo can play there. We have other options or formations that we can adjust to that. At the moment, Victor is doing really well, so really happy with that.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Leandro Trossard. He definitely needs a game. And then you've got people like Martinelli who are off form. But for me, with Martinelli, I think that if you bring him in this type of fixture, it's taking liberties. I mean, we've got to show Athletic Club respect, so we don't want to make too many changes. I feel like 3 or 4 changes will suffice if we want to pick up 3 points, which I fully expect us to do.
Isan, Daily Mail.
Hi, Mikel. Do you have any updates on Bukayo Saka, where he is with his injury?
No, I think it's still quite a lot of things to go through. Very early to understand which week he's going to be available, but he will certainly be pushing to be available as quick as possible.
As quick as possible. I bet everyone was hoping he'll say for Man City. Now, for me, from what I'm kind of feeling and gauging, I don't think Saka will be fit this week. Although you might see him on the bench, but I don't think he starts against Man City. But if he does, that would be the best kept secret, for a long time. But now for me, I feel like Saka might be games or weeks away. I'll be surprised and bemused if he features in any of our fixtures this week.
Your team, of course, reached the semi-finals last season in this competition. This time round, with the squad that you've got now, you haven't spent £250 million and the reinforcements you've got in all positions. Do you now see this as a moment where you can go one step further and possibly get the final, win the competition maybe?
Yeah, like the rest of the teams, that they have done the same and they continue to do that, and they've won it in many occasions. That's the aim in the beginning, but we all know that it's going to be a really long journey. The margins in this competition are super small, and you have to be at your very best from day one to give yourself the best possible chance.
And
in terms of the Champions League, we're definitely in that little batch of front runners. For me, the way I've kind of segmented it is you've got your Liverpools and Barcelonas and PSGs, and then just slightly under that, I'll put us in the batch with Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Man City, and then just under that you got a couple underdogs. I think Chelsea for me are the dark horses for this competition. I feel so in that case it's about 7 or 8 teams can win it realistically, with for me 4 or 5 outstanding candidates. So to reiterate, Liverpool, Barcelona, PSG, Arsenal, Real Madrid, Manchester City and Chelsea and Bayern Munich, for me, are the only teams that can win this competition.
What in particular did you learn from the competition last season which you're going to take into the competition this time around?
That we are good enough, that we can compete against any opposition on the day. And on top of that, that 2 things have to go your way. You need to have a full squad available when it comes to the most critical moments in the season. And then as well, when the ball has to go in the right moment or with the right decision, it has to be as well, because the margins are so small.
Amy, Athletic.
Hi, Mikel.
Yeah, so that obviously explains why we went so ham. We went crazy in the summer window with 8 signings of top quality, immense quality, which for me is the best window as a whole that I've ever seen as an Arsenal fan, and that spans a few decades. But so obviously Pep Guardiola is renowned for kind of starting slow, making changes in the first part of the season, and when it comes to February, March, the business end of the season, they start to click into gear. He starts to make the changes. The better players are fresh. So with our stacked squad, you should expect our key players to get enough rest, because previously people like Saka, Rice, Gabriel, Saliba, Odegaard, we couldn't afford to rest them. But now people like Declan Rice, who's £100 million player, put his feet up on the bench and then had a little run out at the end of the game on Saturday against a very good Nottingham Forest side who made it look very ordinary. So it's good that we have certainly one of the best squads in Europe at this moment in time, if not the best. We've got a very strong case for having the strongest squad in terms of if one player's out, the other player comes in and there's little or no drop off. So having a good squad stands us in good stead for the latter end of the season where it matters.
Was part of the strengthening in a lot of numbers this summer down to that feeling when you're in the semi-final and your numbers are short and you think, I don't want to be here next year, where you're struggling to put out your best team when it counts?
Well, when we were training and we had 8 or 9 fit players, and we're going to games with 13 players, and at that level is extremely difficult. But I think even with that condition, we did really well. We gave ourselves an unbelievable chance, and we were very unlucky in the semi-final not to get through.
Yeah, I mean, Mikel's right-ish, because obviously last season in the Champions League semi-final was playing with Mikel Merino as a striker against PSG, the eventual winners, who I felt we outplayed in the second leg, especially in the first part of that game, where we kind of took the game to them, really pushed them back. Not many teams have done that in the Parc des Princes. We really pushed them back. We just couldn't score, take our chances. Donnarumma was in fantastic form, and then they scored against the run of play. So yeah, I felt like we were the better team in that second leg, in spite of our impediments, missing Thomas Partey, Merino up front, and then we had 4 youngsters on the bench. We had several left backs, so I could go on and on. But there's no room for sentiment in football. There's no room for excuses. Just learning. I feel like we've learned from last season having a weak squad. So this season we can take that learning and implement it in what we want to do to look forward and improve and to win this competition for the first time in our history.
David Raya was just here, and he was talking about how much it almost seemed to still hurt when he thinks about the semi-final and being in that position. I hate to take you back to that moment, but how much does it drive you to have that experience as a young manager where you get so close to the top of the mountain?
Well, it is that, and that moment you get deflated, and you have to understand what you need to do to put yourself back in the same position and start actions actually that matter to give yourself the chance to achieve that. And that's it. You take a lot of learnings from it. It's painful because it's not only what we feel, it's about the expectation that we created and the real conviction that we had within the club, the team, that we could go all the way, because we showed a very high level of consistency and quality throughout the competition, and learn from it and try to be better.
Yeah, so as I said, last season's about learning. So obviously the mistakes that we made were not having a strong squad, not taking our chances. We have obviously addressed those 2 issues with signing a striker, fox in the box in Victor Gyökeres, more creativity in the likes of Max Dowman, Eze, Wanyeri, to name but a few, and then also having a stronger squad. So if one player is down, injured, another can come in, and there'll be not little or no drop off, as I alluded to earlier. So yeah, there's no real excuses now. It's just for us to go out onto the pitch and start winning football matches.
Okay, a couple more in English and we'll go to Spanish questions. George from BBC.
Mikel, hello. Sorry, just the way you started the season, do you sense from the players that after the hurt of last season they're ready to win the Champions League? And you mentioned...
But it's not that simple. I mean, you are so willing to do and you want to be better. I sense a very clear intention that they want to be better every single day. And that's the start and the end. And there is nothing else to control, create the energy, the belief amongst the players, the understanding and the feeling that we can compete against any opposition, and yeah, certainly they have that.
You mentioned about flying into Bilbao, so...
Yeah, so I think what Arteta's saying is it's easy enough to just say, yeah, we're trying to win the Champions League, but as I mentioned earlier, there's 6 or 7 teams that would have the same outlook, you know. Liverpool are joint favourites with Barcelona at this moment in time. Just under them are the current holders, PSG, who beat us twice. So it's fine lines, it's narrow margins. For me personally, Barcelona look the strongest for me. I would have them as ever so slight favourites over Liverpool. Not because Liverpool are better than us, but because of the heritage they have in that competition. And then obviously PSG, I would like to play them again, considering how I felt last May when they ousted us and knocked us out. They no longer have Donnarumma in their goal to make outrageous, out of this world saves. He played out of his skin on that occasion. But yeah, I mean, we're definitely in that batch of teams that could win. And obviously you got Real Madrid, Man City, who have won it in recent years, as as have Chelsea and Bayern Munich. They all won it in the last 5 or 6 years. So, yeah, it's going to be a hotly contested Champions League, to say the least.
Is all of your family coming to this match tomorrow? Is your phone
All
been
of
pinging?
them, no, but a big majority will come, and I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah.
Mark, ESPN.
Hi, Mikel.
Okay, I don't think I need to add anything to that. Mikel Arteta's family will be joining him in his native Spain.
Hi.
You're getting a lot of questions about winning the Champions League, and understandably it's the start of the season, but Arsenal are probably the biggest club that's never won it. Is there a pressure that you feel with that, because Liverpool won it multiple times, Man United, Chelsea? You want to win it, obviously, but how important is it to win that first one for Arsenal?
Well, that tells you, with our long history, how difficult it is, because we haven't won it yet, and that's the opportunity. That's how I see it. You know, the pressure is the opportunity that thrives. That energy, that willingness to be better every single day, to make decisions that are in that direction, and every decision, then if we win not that much, every decision has to be with that standards and with those expectations, and let's give our best chance to try to do it.
Yeah, I mean, this Arsenal not winning the Champions League, or Arsenal supposedly never winning in Europe, which we have in the 90s, 93, Cup Winners' Cup. But it was 94, need to check that. But yeah, to say we're the biggest club never to win it, it's more clear now that is the case, because PSG won it last season, whereas before it was Arsenal stroke PSG. You know, give or take who's a bigger club or whatnot, Arsenal, PSG. Well, that doesn't matter now, because PSG have now won it. PSG is also a relatively new club. They're about 40, 50 years old as a club. So whereas Arsenal is an institution spanning over a century. So therefore, I think it's pretty clear and obvious that Arsenal are the biggest club never to have won it, and remain so. So that should be a big enough incentive for us to change that this season.
You feel that going close actually helps? I mean, you worked with Pep Guardiola at Man City for a few years when they were knocking on the door. Does that disappointment ultimately help you get over the line?
Yeah, and the big clubs, I mean, they try 7, 8, 9 times, they win 2. And so in this competition, it's going to be 1, and you fail much more than you succeed. That's the nature of that. That's the history of our club, and that's what we want to change.
Yeah, so obviously, since Mikel has kind of brought us back into contention as being one of the biggest clubs in the world, Europe, we've made steady progress in Europe. So obviously, 2 seasons ago, we crashed out to Bayern Munich in the quarterfinals in the narrowest of ways, losing 3-2 on aggregate. Last season, having beaten the likes of Real Madrid, PSV convincingly, we came up unstuck against PSG, as I mentioned, in the in the semi-finals. We were really close. So if the trajectory is to continue, then we should be in the final, really. And that would be, incidentally, 20 years on from our last appearance in the Champions League final. And please don't remind me, that night in Paris still haunts me to this day. But I would like us to get back into that Champions League final, for sure. But for me, anything other than minimum semi-final appearance would be, I don't want to say unacceptable, but it would be a disappointment.
Okay, some questions in Spanish. First, from Mikel.
Sí, Mikel.
Yes, Mikel, good evening. An expert coach like Chingurri Valverde, I don't know whether you heard him, said categorically that you're one of the best managers in the world. What do you have to say to that? And 20 years after leaving Real Sociedad, you come back to your country, this one, to compete, I think, for the first time. What do you feel, although you already mentioned it a little bit in English? Well, first of all, I'd like to thank him for his words. For me, he's always been a reference for several reasons. Firstly, because he's been in this profession for over 20 years, and everywhere he's gone, he's left 2 things. First of all, successes in the clubs he worked for, and the mark he made in the way he behaves, the humanity he shows, and now how natural he is in his profession. And above all, I think that there's a way of doing things that puts him apart from many other managers. So what I need to do is learn from him and improve. And the second question, I'm very glad to be back. It's been 20 years since I was here professionally, obviously in a different role, and I very much wanted to come and experience the atmosphere in this stadium and to face a rival that's going to be very difficult, very demanding, but I'm very excited. Hello.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. So, what was it again? So, yeah, basically, yeah, it's just a love in between the managers. I mean, yeah, that's just the modern day style where both managers say the other one's great, the other team is great, the opponent's great, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, when the game starts, none of that matters. I mean, Mikel Arteta may also return the favour and say that athletic clubs managers also a great manager and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, it's just about who picks up the 3 points in the day. As for Mikel returning to an Arsenal team to play in Spain, in that region he used to play in for Real Sociedad, yeah, he did. Because I think, if I'm not wrong, he's in no particular order, he's played for Glasgow Rangers, Everton, Arsenal, Real Sociedad, and then he was in the Barcelona youth team, as well as being on loan at PSG. So he was a well-travelled player, playing in different countries and whatnot. But yeah, it's not like he hasn't returned to Spain. I mean, he played against Real Madrid in that famous win at the Bernabeu just a few months ago.
Mikel, I don't know whether the pre-season match is any use in preparing tomorrow's match, or whether there are two different moments in the season. No. It was useful to obtain some information and have a good feeling after the match, but we know that tomorrow's going to be a different world. This is the Champions League. The level of both teams will rise, the context will be different, and it's going to be a very different game.
Yeah, for sure, I agree. Obviously, he would say that, though. But it's similar to PSG situation, wherein we played PSG around September, October last year, and then we played them again about 6 months later in May, and they were a completely different team. Obviously, at the time we beat PSG, they didn't have Kvaratskhelia. Dembele was not in the form that he was in towards the end of the season. Neither were PSG. They clicked into the gear, and they were effectively the best team in Europe last season. Whereas I kind of compare it to this, where we've played Athletic Club Bilbao in pre-season, probably about, I'd say, 6 weeks ago. And yeah, they were a week behind us, hadn't started their season, whereas we was literally days away from starting our season. So we was ahead of them fitness-wise. And on top of that, this is a competitive match. We're also away from home. So all those factors encompassed, you know, it's going to be a completely different game. So I have to agree with Mikel on this one here.
And I hope we can get the result we want. Hello, Mikel. Good evening. Rubio from Cadena Cope. I don't know whether you've heard about Lamine injured, Nico injured. You've had 3 players in the Spanish squad. Is it a big bother every time there's a break for the national teams? Well, yes, because we lost 3 very important players. But we've also lost very important players through injuries, and this is part of the normal process, and we just have to try to get these players ready. It's almost impossible to play 64 matches, and that's why all managers and clubs need more players and more resources.
Okay, so what I took from that was Nico Williams is probably injured, and Nico Williams is Athletic Club's highest paid player now, significantly their highest paid player, but he's their best player. Let's have it right. We were linked with him for a number of years, but before he signed his extension at his hometown City club. But yeah, Mikel's right. We've had injuries. We've had Kai Havertz out. Bukayo Saka's out. Arguably our best player, probably is. So it's not like we're not missing top players. William Saliba's out. It's just having a strong squad. So therefore, the bigger clubs will have more money, more gravitas to pull in the better players. Whereas clubs like Athletic Club wouldn't really be an attractive proposition for players, squad players, to have that quality to accept that they're not going to start to go to that type of club. I know that was kind of wordy, but I hope you understand what I mean by that.
Hello, Mikel. Diego Gonzalez, Cadena Ser. I would like to talk a bit about the match. Athletic is going to have a lot of faith in their 15-20 minutes push and pressure, and we'll see later on how they plan the match, whether they play higher or deeper. But what do you expect from Athletic tomorrow? That obviously they'll try to do what they want, and it's an extremely dangerous team when they do that, and at home they have the capacity to do that in different ways. And we want a very different kind of match to what they want, and as usual we'll try to diffuse their quality and try to use our best players and play. The key of Athletic is in their high pressure. Where do you think the key is?
So it'll be interesting to see how Athletic tackle this game. Personally, I feel like they are gonna play their football. That's the only way they can. They try and play the passing, the typical Spanish way, and I feel like if they do that, we're gonna absolutely spank them. I just think we're gonna kind of trying to take to the centre of the ring, like when we have done in places like Sporting Lisbon. I feel like it's gonna be a kind of similar game to that, where we just kind of puff our chests out, act like we're the home team, have no respect in the most respectful way, have no respect in the sense that we're coming there to win, and we're coming there to win in our way, and there's nothing you can do to stop us doing so. We're going to win during this 90 minutes, and we're going to go back to London and take on Manchester City.
To play your way here in San Mamés. Well, when they do that, get out of that pressure as effectively as possible, and to try to use the spaces they use. They change the way they play a great deal, especially depending on the context, the match, and who they're playing against very often. So we have to try to adjust things. We're a very aggressive team, and I hope that it will be a very good match.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. If Athletic Club try and press us, then I think we just need to pass it around us. So I think this is a game where we can kind of play the game what we actually want to play, which is the 22-23 type of style, or the 23-24 type of style second half of the season, where we're just kind of indiscriminately battering teams. But yeah, if they try to press us, I think we just pass it around them, tire them out, bang, 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 bang. And I'm really confident ahead of tomorrow. I know that Athletic Club are a good team, but I'm more confident when we play against good teams, because I know good teams want to play good football, open football, and if the vast majority of sides try to do that with us, then the outcome is usually the same.
Yes, Mikel, good afternoon. Javi Beltran, Diario AS. A couple of things. Is Mikel Merino at the best point in his career? And two, do you think that Valverde is going to feel the absence of Nico Williams very much in the 11? Well, Mikel Merino has been at a very high level for a very long time, but now the transcendence of what he's doing is enormous. His quality, his character, his personality, the variability he gives us in his performance. And regarding Nico, well, I imagine Ernesto would like to have him, like we would like to have other great players that can't be there tomorrow. But we'll try to do the best we can with the players we have. Javier Ortiz de Lazcano from
Okay, so yeah, it appears that Nico Williams is definitely out for tomorrow, which means we have an unbelievable chance. We'll be supreme favourites for this game for sure. But yeah, Mikel did well not to mention Bukayo Saka's name, because if he mentioned Saka's name, then he would have to mention potentially Saliba's name and Kai Havertz's name. So yeah, because we do have a few injuries of our own, let alone Christian Norgard, who has yet to make his debut for Arsenal, official debut that is, in a competitive match.
Correo, welcome home. In Nico Williams' turbulent summer, was there any interest from Arsenal in signing Nico? Well, I can't say. I can only say that Nico is a great player that you enjoy every week here and in the national team, and I can't say much more.
Let me translate that as yes.